cold out. It's cold out. Good morning, Andrew. Yesterday, man, I got so much stuff to tell you about yesterday. I'm super excited. The stuff I can tell you. I can't tell you everything yet, but I'll tell you what I can. And I'll tell you in a few minutes. But here we go in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Wednesday. It's December 30th. We're almost there. 2020. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Oh, man. Yesterday was a pretty good day, pretty productive day. Spent an hour editing the book, just chipping away on that. And I've realized that I probably needed to think that I was going to have this book done in, it was going to be like a month or something. Otherwise, I wasn't going to do it. If I had known how much work was going to go into it, I probably wouldn't have done it. But now that I've done it and I'm doing it, I'm totally fine. I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying the refining right now. Because unlike the other things that I've worked on, the other, the podcasts and the other books, the creative things that I've done, there's not a lot of value in really nitpicking. To sit there and to poke at it and say, you know what, this sentence isn't right. It doesn't make those other things better, but it makes this better. So it's really been an interesting process for me. And yeah, do I have my hopes of putting it out there next month? Yes. Am I going to put it out before it's ready? No. Good morning, Stacey. I want to put out the best book I can. I want it to be great. I want people to read it and go, wow, Jeremy found his calling. If that's the case, cool. If not, that's okay too. Because I think it'll at least be good. I'm a decent writer. I know that. I'm confident in that. What else happened? Recorded a incredibly rare guest interview for a Thursday show. Important topic. Past guest. Not heavy in the way that you would probably think it would be. Yeah, we won't use that word. But it was good. Went really well. Really happy to get to talk to this guest again. And had some thoughts on some other things that we can do. Andrew says he's intrigued. Yeah, you should be. I will talk to you about some of these things. I'm always looking for how to improve. How do we make things better? How do we find ways to just kick it up a notch, make everything a little bit better? And I think if you're not always looking for that, I think you're missing the point. I think that is the true martial arts philosophy that gets to come through in everything. How do you make it better? How do you make it a teeny tiny bit better? How do we refine this? Had a call with, I told her last night she was my director of professional development. My accountability partner, friend, work mom, I don't know, Mara. We had a good call, talked about a number of things, and I'm feeling good. And she, asked some good questions and encouraged me on some things. And I'm excited for what 2021 brings. I really am. And not just in the same way that everybody else says that. It's like, oh, it's a new year. Well, yeah. A lot of this stuff that's happening happens to be in the new year. I was not opposed to big, great things happening in 2020. And in some ways, some of them did. My client roster, my consulting work, increased dramatically. Added, I don't even know how many clients. Just about all of them. If you think about it by revenue, it was, the vast majority of clients that brought me revenue came in 2020. And I've got more. I've got a call with somebody this evening that we've had a couple conversations, and I think it's time. I think he's ready. It's a martial arts school, so I'm pumped. It'll be my third martial arts school. Third? Depends on how you look at it. Third paid martial arts school. One of the things that I always tell people, if you are helping with a whistlekick project in some way, you get full access to me. It's one of the few things I can do. I can't, even the people that I pay, I can't afford to pay them what they're worth. But if you have questions, if there are things I can do to help you, I will absolutely do that. Have a call with one of the team members today. Yeah, things are going well. I'm excited. How is there still a fly? It's 10 degrees outside. Good morning, Nathan. We got I think 2021's the year. I think it is. I think 2021 is the year where things go for us. Books are ready to pop in a good way. There should be product in a box on its way. And I saw the photos. It is the only item that I can launch right now that I think may differentiate us, and I'm excited for it. So that's on its way. I've got some ideas for martial arts radio. Big ideas. Good ideas. Evolutionary steps. Darwin would be proud. But I have to collect my thoughts first, and then I have to talk to everybody else who works on martial arts radio. No, it's not a bad thing. Nobody's going away. Please don't anybody think anything negative. Stacy says, with a vaccine and a flattened curve, sparring will return. I hope you're right. And there are two other things that may happen in 2021 that will both be fun, exciting, different, and generate revenue. Because that has been the biggest epiphany of the last who knows what. I've been so focused on branding and long-term growth. And I'm worried so much about making money. Now I'm worried about making money. We gotta make some money. And we will. So that's what I have to report. Andrew says money is good. It is. It's kind of necessary. Money to a business is like breathing to the rest of us. Yeah, you can take it for granted, but if it's not there, you're in trouble. You can only survive for so long without it. So what's going on today? Cat gets acupuncture. It's client call, hopefully client call. Call with friend / team member. Another client call, doing the books. Bunch of miscellaneous stuff, and then hanging out with a friend tonight. So. Well, that's enough about me. Let's see what's going on with all of you. What did you write in for me to talk about? Remember, drop stuff in here. It makes the show more fun. Frank always does a great. I'm trying to combine good and great. A grud? Grud. That's my Teen Girl Squad voice for those of you who get that reference. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. I like when people write stuff in, leave it in the comment section, and I'll reply tomorrow. There will be a short show tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be a show Friday. I am hanging out with some friends, and we'll probably stay up till midnight. And I'll probably be tired, so I'll sleep in. Stacy says she has Grood. We got some Bruce Lee quotes. 5 of them. 5 of them? Wow. Frank, I'm surprised you found 5 Bruce Lee quotes that we haven't used before. Well, we may have used them before. It's okay. Coffee came out great this morning. Back to the Costco Starbucks blend, which is an awesome coffee. And it's not that expensive. It's cheaper than Starbucks coffee. And it comes in huge bags. Are you going to let the obstacles in your life be stumbling blocks or stepping stones? Choose the positive. You are the master of your attitude, Bruce Lee. If he was alive today, I think he would have said that a little bit differently. Are you going to let them be stumbling blocks, or are you going to parkour vault all over them? It's the obstacles, it's the challenges, the color, the frustration that defines us. Every single thing that we have, that we know, that we understand, that we work for, requires difficulty and pain and sweat, tears. There's nothing worth having that comes easily. Nothing. It may come simply. There's that distinction again that I keep using. You've got to work, you've got to be dedicated, you've got to find a path forward. And that might be easy. I'm sorry, but that might be simple, but it's not easy. Otherwise, everyone would have it and you wouldn't want it. If you have big goals, it's going to be hard to reach them, but it's never impossible. Andrew not only got the reference, but chipped away at it. Sorry this is late. Teen Girl Squad. Arrowed. All right, so now that 2 of you in the chat know what this is, I'll take a moment here and detour. Back in my 20s, I was a mentor for a youth group, for a high school youth group. Not martial arts. Church. How religious was it? They had a Jewish mentor. That's how really religious this group was. And the kids shared a lot of stuff with me. And one of the things that they shared with me was the full, 14, 15, 16 episode, hysterical, though terribly drawn, Teen Girl Squad videos. They're not for everyone, but for people that think they're funny, they're the funniest thing ever. I used to drive my ex nuts. If we'd go on vacation, there's an episode where the characters say we're on vacation, but they have that weird, it's voiced by a man pretending to be 4 crudely drawn teenage girls. We're on vacation. It's great. It's worth checking out. You're either gonna love it or hate it. It's available on YouTube. Don't shy away. Here, I'm pulling it back. Don't shy away from things that are difficult. That's where the best rewards are. You know, what's that statistic we kick around? 1 in 100 will earn a black belt. 1% of people achieve. And that's just not 1 in 100 in the world. That's 1 in 100 who start martial arts. So what percentage of people have a black belt, right? It's very small. other thing. Now, if you've earned a black belt, you know, yeah, it takes some time, it takes some effort. It's not that hard. You just have to be persistent. So what if you apply that thought process, that methodology to everything else in life? Well, I'd really like to know, have, see, do this. Okay. Most of us who earned a black belt earned it putting in, even with travel time, let's say 3 to 6 hours a week for, let's say, an average of 6 years, 5 to 6 years. What if it's something else? What if you want to learn another language? What if you take a half hour a few times a week? You get Duolingo on your phone. Boom. 5, 6 years, you're going to be fluent. Think about all these other things. What if you're trying to save money? Pay off debts? What if you're trying to advance professionally? So you take a class online. 5 to 6 years, you could have a new degree. What's the quote? The surest way to get where you're going is just to start. I've got some lofty goals for 2021. I'll share one of them with you. I want to pet an elephant in Thailand. It's my next bucket list item. Because the entirety of my bucket list involved the Galapagos Islands, and I went there 7 years ago. Elephants are cool. I'll pet one. So I'll go to Thailand if I'm ever allowed to fly again. That's the only way I'm not going. Next. Everyone wants to learn how to win, but no one wants to learn how to accept defeat. Oh, is that powerful? No one wants to learn how to accept defeat. What is defeat? Defeat is not succeeding. Defeat is someone being better than you. Here's the thing I find most ironic about martial arts. We recognize that it is from our mutual efforts, training together, practicing, sparring, teaching, etc., that martial arts improves, that we improve. And yet, so many of us get so wrapped up in ego that we argue about whether or not somebody's better. It's one of our favorite things to argue about. Who's the better fighter? I saw one. I'm not even going to pay this one. I'm not even going to detail what I saw. I saw something on social media, and it was person who is famous for acting, not Bruce Lee, being pitted in a figurative, a hypothetical way against person who is famous for fighting. So what? Here's my attitude. If you're the best person in the room, you need to go into a better room, a different room, a bigger room, another room. Here's a rare moment of me not being modest. I've been training for over 35 years. I'm a pretty good martial artist. I don't claim to be the best. I don't claim to be the best at anything. But no matter the situation you put me in, I am competent. I can hold my own, I can share knowledge, and I definitely have the foundation to learn more. I have found times where I have been the best in the room. Doesn't happen often, but it happens. Am I going to hang out and train there? Not long term. I'll visit. I'll encourage others. but that's not where I'm going to spend my time, even though it makes me feel good. When I travel around, which didn't happen this year, but when I travel around and I teach at schools, people will invite me to come teach, and yeah, I'll do that. I'm not going to be doing as much of that just due to time constraints, but I enjoy it. When I teach at some of these smaller schools, I've got 2, 3, 4 times the time in from the instructors. These are great people. They do have things to teach me. I'm not so arrogant as to think everybody has something to teach. Sometimes it's a white belt throwing a kick in a way that you never would have imagined, getting smacked in the face, going, wow, that's interesting. It's happened. Remember, that's how I lost my tooth. It's the white belt mentality. It's the confidence in who you are to be able to be in the back of the room and recognize that there is nothing but education and advancement in front of you. I think it's the best. I really do. Every one of you watching right now could teach me things. Some of you could teach me a lot of things. Life itself is your teacher. Well, this flows beautifully, and you are in a state of constant learning. Best segue ever. Life itself is your teacher, and you are in a state of constant learning. Open your eyes. The thing that makes me a good martial artist is the same thing that makes me a good martial arts instructor. It's the same thing that makes me a good business consultant. It's the same thing that makes me a good person. I'm really good at observing. I've spent a lot of time through my life as a nerd just hanging out going, what are these people doing? What are they talking about? Reading books about people, watching TV, understanding people wouldn't say that. People would say that. One of my hopes for those of you that read the book is that you'll read the dialogue and say, this dialogue feels very authentic, because that's real. Like, that's really important to me. I'm tired of people having such a poor understanding of how others work, that the dialogue is forced and awkward in TV, movies, or in books. We see it all the time. Why does that happen? Because the people writing are either lazy or they don't understand people. I learn things every single day, sometimes for myself. How? By trying something, by taking a gamble. If you listen to martial arts radio often, you'll hear me say, I'm taking a guess, but I'm going to ask this question, or something similar, right? Like, I know this is going to seem out of left field, but, and quite often, I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong. I've learned to trust my instincts there, because I've got hundreds of hours. How many episodes of martial arts radio? 5, recorded episode number 571 last night. If the average time spent is an hour, it's 500 hours. 500 hours. Talking to people, talking to myself, talking to you. One of the things I figured out yesterday as I was looking at where I spend my time, roughly 1 month, roughly 1 full month of work involves martial arts radio. To express yourself in freedom, you must die to everything of yesterday. From the old, you derive security. From the new, you gain the flow. That's deep. Let me say it one more time. To express yourself in freedom, you must die to everything of yesterday. From the old, you derive security. From the new, you gain the flow. There are people in your life, maybe you're one of them, who have found a good routine. They get up, they go to work, they come home, they do a thing, maybe they train a few days a week. On the weekends, they do a different thing, maybe more of the same thing, and they repeat that process. Maybe they get promoted at work, and after 30, 40 years, they retire. They spend the first few months doing the thing that they did a few hours a week before, and then they go, I don't know what to do. Sadly, quite a few of those people get bored. They find a new routine of doing nothing, they fade away, and they pass. That's the secure, stable life that, quite honestly, society for a long time has encouraged us to take. I've always rejected that because it doesn't seem fun to me. Adventure and, let me say it a different way. In this moment, what do I have? I have stories. I have knowledge, I have experiences. Those are all stories. I can express them all as stories. That's why martial arts radio is rooted in story. Stories are the original way that we pass down information and knowledge. There are martial arts styles where the techniques have names that almost evoke stories. You know, instead of straight punch, it's, you know, I think of the names that I know from Kempo. You know, tiger claw, leopard's paw. My favorite one, monkey steals the peaches. There's a story there. You can probably imagine what it is. If all we have is stories, then I'm going to do my best to make them new ones, to create them. I don't have to wait for other people. I can be the one making the stories. So can you. I don't know if we're going to get through all these. Well, we got 2 more. I think we can do it. Come on. All right. What's going on here? 5. I thought we had 6. Let's try refreshing that. Nope, we have 5. Okay. Last one then. Understanding requires not just a moment of perception, but a continuous awareness, a continuous state of inquiry without conclusion. Todd kind of said this earlier, right? Observation. Why? Okay. If you've never been a martial arts instructor, you may have heard me or others say, I learned more in my years of teaching than I did in my years of training. Why? Because you get to observe. Because you get to see many different people doing the same things and understanding why some of them are doing them wrong. Or what, hey, try this, what that turns into. Prior to being an instructor or teaching anything, the only person you really have to understand in how this all works is you. Teaching is one of the best ways to fully understand any subject. And it's why I'm a big fan of the moment you understand something well enough to teach it, you teach it. Now, it doesn't mean you're teaching it on your own. It doesn't mean that the second day at a martial arts class, you should be teaching the things you learned on day 1. But it doesn't mean that you can't, let's say, demonstrate. Stacy says, you have to think about the moves, the why, the how, the timing. Yes. And you have to be able to communicate it in different ways, which requires understanding it in different ways. Andrew says, we've talked about it before. One of the best things for an instructor is the ability to teach the same thing multiple ways. Yes, absolutely. And there's no better way to get there than with teaching. So my urge to you, if you are a martial arts instructor, find opportunities to incorporate your even middle to slightly lower ranked students to teach. It isn't always effective depending on the age group or the personalities, but instead of saying, okay, you person go practice this form or this combination or whatever, you could have, okay, you 3 people, 4 people, go over there and you take turns observing and pointing things out. There's going to be discussion. Is it going to be necessarily the most repetitions that they're going to go through? No. But let them start to understand. Let them start to learn how to teach. Let them learn how to receive feedback from people that aren't you. It's valuable. It impacts ego. Ironically, the subject that I talked about yesterday's guest with, the subject I talked about with yesterday's guest, there we go, had nothing to do with ego, and yet ego came up half a dozen times through the conversation. Work to dispel ego. All right, I'm gonna go. Great stuff. Thank you for joining me, Andrew, Stacy, Nathan, and anybody else that came by. Thank you to Frank for the comments. And one more here from Stacy. I learned so much at summer camp from both the students and helping Master Jordan. And most of all, watching. How does he teach? How does he inspire? How does he read people? Exactly. He's a wonderful teacher. All right. Now, I hope some of you will leave comments for tomorrow. The last show of 2020. The last one of the year. So leave me some good stuff, because I'll be back here 6:30 a.m. Eastern for another show. Thank you to all of you. Have a fantastic day. Take care. Peace.